Hello friends, hope you are well, wishing all the best to the folks over on the East Coast, staying safe, lockdown ain't forever. Thanks for jumping into this episode of the Dirt Report Tech and Telco News from all around Australia with some international tidbits. I call them tidbits because generally they're small and today they are the smallest, and I hope I can land this joke at the story at the end of this video. In today's episode, we have the NBN Co admitting there are still homes unable to hit the minimum speeds. Are you surprised? CommBank buys into 2 RSPs and the COVID Safe app report has been released with plenty of black highlights. Then on the international side, we have a giant rocket-shaped, we'll get to that, with Amazon Jeff Bezos going into space. How quaint. So make sure to tap the like button if you like this video and subscribe to support us, and if you haven't already, check out the Nielsen NBN research panel, share your NBN speeds, get rewarded with points to turn into vouchers for places like Amazon and Bunnings. Links below for more details. Let's roll the intro. According to the latest June report from the NBN, links below, there are still over 119,000 homes that cannot achieve the minimum 25 megabit speeds. There is some silver lining to this, however. First off, the numbers are down from 229,000 at the end of last year, and according to the report, 80% of those 119,000 homes are able to achieve more than 20 megabits a second, so they're not far off. I'd like to also take a moment and say good on them. We're moving forward, I suppose. At the same time, NBN Co has said that this could be fixed with the removal of coexistence, which is slated to be fully off by the end of 2024. And in good news, they're considering bringing that date forward. How long have we waited for that? So it's June 2021 and we're still talking about underperforming connections and upgrades that feel like they should have been done that way the first time. Welcome to the Australian National Broadband Network rollout. Let's go through some of the other highlights in this report. There are now over 12 million homes and businesses that are able to connect to the NBN. That's 300,000 more than June last year, totaling to 8.2 million actual connections today. On the note of installations and connections, it seems that this year in June, only 78% of connections were installed right the first time, meaning not needing a second visit, compared to 93% in June last year. Now, to be fair to the NBN, this could be the hard-to-connect premises that they have been leaving in the too-hard basket, and it could explain the drop as we get down to the last few connections. But you may also remember that back in December 2020, the Australian government announced the NBN has been fully built. I'll let that sink in. Uptake of the 50 megabits plans has increased, which means the 25 megabits has also decreased, obviously. It looks like folks want better speeds, or as I've heard on the grapevine, the price is the same for both plans. 75% of all connections are on the 15 megabit speed plans, and faults after connections have dropped, which is a good sign. They seem to have gone up in March and then tailed off back into June to 2020 levels of the same month. And no, you were not dreaming. Sky Master services have been having more issues over the last few months compared to June 2020. Now, hopefully soon NBN News will tail off and we'll see bigger and more exciting things happen with them, but for now, many homes are still not able to get the bare minimum. Let me know your thoughts below and let's move on. CommBank has invested into 2 NBN RSPs, something I never thought would happen, but it seems like CommBank has seen some sort of benefit in it after all. And banks investing is like a shark smelling blood in water. There must be money to be made or a hedge against a market crash. Commonwealth Bank has taken a 25% stake in 2 RSPs, More Telecom and Tangerine. I have linked the full announcement below. You see, the announcement says that this is a strategic partnership for CommBank and the 2 telcos to provide value for CommBank customers. The details are not yet clear, but it seems that CBA will be able to offer a discounted NBN service to their customers through More Telecom and Tangerine, in turn increasing the 2 telcos' customer numbers. This seems like a pretty good deal. After all, most people who bank with need internet to access said bank, but it could be a good time to be a Commonwealth Bank customer. I expect to see more and more such partnerships. On a small scale, it is similar to when subscription services bundle in 2 services together for the price of 1. It is, however, a first for a bank to connect with an NBN reseller in Australia. Here is what CBA's Group Executive for Retail Banking Services, Angus Sullivan, said. We're looking at how we can help save customers money with their everyday bills and commitments, and our decision to partner with More Telecom and Tangerine highlights how we're continuing to reward our customers. The average monthly cost of internet in Australia is one of the most expensive in the world, and we are uniquely positioned to help customers manage these costs. We will do this by utilizing our technology to provide personalized offers via the CommBank app to those customers who know will benefit from switching broadband providers. According to the source quoted on this announcement, also linked below, Australia has the fourth most expensive 100 megabits plan in the world. Above us only South Africa, Iceland, and Norway. Let me know if you would be willing to swap to one of these providers as a CommBank customer that might receive this benefit, or would you stay with your trusted RSP for now? I'm also interested to see the possible savings in actual dollar figures. Let's move on. Many folks have been using their state's sign-in app, and I think it seems many have forgotten there's also this other app called COVID Safe app. Now, the COVID Safe app has been built for contact tracing, and it is again under fire after its most recent report that the government was forced to release due to mounting pressure by a Freedom of Information request by the Canberra Times of all news outlets. The report was heavily redacted, almost like a classic CIA report from the movies. Black line highlights everywhere. However, the Australian government can't even afford ink, so instead they just left blank white spaces. I have linked below both the report and the request, but there's not much to read. There is very little information in this report. The question was to find the effectiveness of the app in its first 6 months of operation in the total of 18 months. However, the juicy parts have all been removed, leaving the report a likely victim of a dog. As far as chewing homework goes, it's pretty close. This report of the first 6 months is 12 months late and costs over $234,000 to prepare. The companies involved in its procurement were APT Associates and their technology partner, Brisbane-based systems integrator BDNA. So to summarize, what do you think was left in the report? Take a guess. It's likely probably a Hollywood movie if you really think about it. The only text left was how positive and well done the rollout was, reiterating how the Australian government managed to develop such a fantastic tool in a matter of weeks. I'm not sure what to make of this. The report didn't even have any mentions of the 17 individuals it managed to successfully trace last year. Maybe because the cost per trace was ridiculous, or maybe because there is more to it than the media originally reported or was even allowed to know about. I appreciate the Freedom of Information Act, and a big thanks to the Canberra Times for taking a stand, but what is it worth if it's all redacted? Let me know your thoughts below. Well, would you look at the time? It's time to leave lazy corruption behind for billionaire space monkeys. It's time for some international news. If you like this video, then tap the like button and don't forget to subscribe. The space race has come to an exciting conclusion. Its first season, Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos went to space in the last 2 weeks. Both flights were interesting to watch, but one was certainly better than the other. I think we can all agree which one was a bit cooler. Now, Jeff Bezos, the Amazon founder who has an estimated net worth of $206 billion, took off from Texas on Tuesday on his rocket, the New Shepard, owned by his company Blue Origin. The launch went without a hitch and allowed the 4 space travelers to touch space for a few minutes. In addition to Bezos, on board the capsule were Bezos' brother Mark, Wally Funk, an 82-year-old aviation pioneer, very sprightly for her age, and Oliver Damon, an 18-year-old student from the Netherlands who lucked into the flight when the winner of an auction for the 4th seat had to postpone. Now, the cost of each seat was $28 million. Pretty cool luck, right? Now, Bezos has been hounded by blue check marks on Twitter for his wild expenditures on space flight instead of fixing humanity's problems here on Earth, with such classics as Jeff Bezos is going to space tomorrow. Yesterday on Earth, I saw a man searching for food in a trash can. Let me know your thoughts below. Are billionaires not being taxed enough? Do they hoard their money? Should they be fixing the world's problems? Well, they certainly have the means. Maybe in the future we can use our drone and space travel technology to launch food straight into mouths of hungry people from space. They took off in a rocket, which is hard to describe. Maybe you can give me a better description in the comments below. The entire trip took around 10 minutes, reaching the edge of space and coming back down to Earth. The flight was without fault. In the end, the lone shaft, missing its tip, landed safely on the launch pad. With a cheer and a clap, the space race was on like Donkey Kong, followed by a pod a few minutes later. However, according to the BBC, the astronautic wings spotted on Jeff's and Richard's flightwear were custom-made pins by their own companies. Kind of like making your own Olympic gold medal because you didn't even compete in the Olympics and never won anything. So officially they are not real astronauts because the FAA gives out that distinction as an honorary award based on merit at the discretion of the FAA's associate administrator. So no, you can't just buy yourself to one of those. Thank God, I suppose. Upon the safe landing of the tip, or pod as some would call it, Jeff thanked everyone with a particularly out-of-touch line. He said, "I want to thank every Amazon employee and every Amazon customer because you guys paid for it all." And on that 2-minute long phallic ride to space, we have to end this episode. Thank you very much for jumping in. Make sure to like this video if you did, subscribe to get notified of all future videos, and support us. Now, if you haven't already, check out the Nielsen NBN Research Panel, share your NBN speeds, and get rewarded with points to turn into vouchers for places like Amazon and Bunnings. Links below for more detail. Thanks and bye.